Hello learners, today in this session, in continuation to our last sessions on SDG and India's achievement, let us look into the remaining goals and what are the India's approach to achieve those goals and what is our progress so far. In the last session, we have looked up to goal number 9. Goal number 10 that talks about reducing inequality within and among countries, that is, reduce inequalities. This goal number 10 calls for progressively reducing not only income inequalities but also inequalities of outcome by ensuring access to equal opportunities and promoting social, economic, and political inclusion of all, irrespective of age, sex, disability, race, ethnicity, religion, or another status relevant within society. The goal also aims to enhance representation and voice for developing countries in decision making in international institutions. To achieve these goals, what are India's approach? As we know, our country in India, you will see inequality tax on many forms, that is in income and consumption, structural inequalities based on gender, religion, caste, and social groups, as well as we will see regional inequality, all of which manifest in equalities of opportunities and access. But India remains committed to championing social, economic, and political equality through legislation and well-designed multi-sectoral interventions. So, the approach is India is trying to achieve this particular goals on inequalities can be looked into the lens of poverty and inequality, inequalities of opportunities and outcomes, then vulnerable groups, then last, we can look into the financial inclusion. If we look into that particular sectors or particular issues on poverty and inequality, we have various intervention in social protection and safety net, such as Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantees Scheme that gives access to basic services through the JAM Trinity, that is Jan Dhan Aadhar Mobile. And we are giving pension for those in need through the National Social Assistance Program. And in terms of to reduce this regional inequality, government have initiated, we have the program, the aspirational district programs. This program plays a considerable role. Under this program, 112 relatively backward districts are identified from all across the country and are monitored on a real-time basis to measure the development outcomes that attained by these districts and bring them at par with other districts across the country. In terms of inequality of opportunities outcomes, we already have Right to Education Act. The Right to Education Act was enacted that made education a fundamental right for every child is up to 14 years. And through the umbrella scheme, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, concert efforts have been dedicated to bridging the gap between industry demands of skill and labor, unskilled person to develop necessary skills to improve their employability. To bring equality for vulnerable groups of the society, like women and other community. We have Beti Bachao, Beti Parao scheme to increase the parents for girl child education. The program like training and employment programs for women, that is support to training and employment program for women STEP, Deen Dayal Rehabilitation Scheme for persons with disabilities. These are some of the initiatives And we have more initiative on scheduled caste, scheduled tribe communities that include educational scholarship, coaching and guidance, livelihood opportunities, and Stand Up India to promote entrepreneurship. Financial inclusion is very important to bring equality. Under Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, entrepreneurs are supported by providing credit to micro and small enterprises. So far, towards this direction, our progress in the country is that in terms of income inequality in rural India is marginally lower than in urban India. Urban inequality is lowest in Manipur at 0.209, while it is highest in Kerala, 0.414. Haryana, 0.41. And Kerala also has the highest in rural inequality, 0.363, and it is lowest in Meghalaya, 0.19%. And if we look into political inclusion, the Indian Constitution recommends reservation of 1/3 of the seats of Panchayati Raj institution for women. And very interestingly, in 2016, 46.14% of the seats in Panchayati Raj institution in India were held by women. 8 states have more than 50% women representative in Panchayati Raj institution, and Jharkhand is taking lead with 59.18%. Even states like Gujarat and Goa with the lowest share of women representation at 32.9% and 32.97% respectively, we are close to achieving the constitutional mandate of 33% women representation. 4. In transgender labor force participation, as of 2016, the participation rate of the transgender workforce was only 0.64 to that of the male labor force. It is worthwhile to note that 5 states, namely Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Meghalaya, Himachal Pradesh, and Telangana, have already surpassed the national target, that is the value of 1. So these are big achievement. If we look into the progress of scheduled caste sub-plan fund utilization, 3 states and 2 union territories, namely Kerala, Manipur, West Bengal, Chandigarh, and Daman and Diu, utilize 100% of their scheduled caste sub-plan, utilize this scheduled caste sub-plan fund. So on an average in the country, 77.67% of the fund allocated to scheduled caste population is utilized. In case of scheduled tribe sub-plan fund utilization, 3 states and 2 union territories, Karnataka, Kerala, West Bengal, Andaman Nicobar Island, and Daman and Diu utilize 100% of their tribal sub-plan funds. On an average, in the country, 82.98% of the fund allocated for scheduled tribe population is being utilized. If we come to the goal number 11, sustainable cities and communities to make cities inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable, India is taking important steps through the approach of reforms in the real estate sector, urban transformation and housing for all, sustainable urbanization. As you know, urbanization in India has become a necessary and irreversible process and is an integral determinant of economic growth and poverty reduction. Especially in reforms in the real estate sector, the Real Estate Regulation Development Act 2016, that's called RERA 2016 Act, is transformative legislation aimed to ensure regulation and promote real estate sector efficiently and transparently and to protect the interest of home buyers. Under urban transformation housing for all, a scheme like Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, as we call AMRUT, basic civic amenities like water supply, sewerage, urban transportation, parks, etc. are provided to all with a focus on the poor and the disadvantaged in 500 cities, including all those with a population of 100,000. So to ensure adequate, safe and affordable housing and basic services for all and upgrade slums by 2022, the government of India has launched Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Further, to develop and promote effective means of sustainable transport, the government is taking crucial steps towards promoting electric mobility that includes the newly launched National Mission on Transformative Mobility and Battery Storage and the FAME2 scheme. When urbanization plays an important role in economic growth of the country, we need to bring urbanization in a sustainable way. So, under this important approach of sustainable urbanization, we have this scheme of the Smart Cities Mission, which was launched in 2015, that aims at building sustainable inclusive cities that provide core infrastructure, a clean and a sustainable environment, and a decent quality of life to its citizens. The strategic components of the mission are city improvement, retrofitting, city renewal, redevelopment, and city extension, greenfield development, with the smart solution applied in service delivery and governance. In this line, 100 cities under the mission have proposed to execute 5,151 projects worth Indian rupees 2,050 billion in 5 years from their respective dates of selection. As of 2019, 31.01% of houses were completed under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, especially in the urban area, is against the total number of houses sanctioned for construction. Goa has met 91.11% of its housing demand. Then under this, we can look into our approach of door-to-door waste collection. Proper and established waste management is essential for sustainable cities. In this category, or in this particular approach of door-to-door waste collection, 7 states and 5 union territories have achieved the target of 100% door-to-door waste collection. And even Rajasthan is very close to achieving the target at 99.81%. So in all over India, across India, 19.99% of the wards have 100% from door-to-door collection. The another approach which we need to look into the progress is waste processed. As of June 2019, only 56% of total waste generated gets processed. The best performers among the states are Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh, with 84% of its waste getting processed. It's followed by Gujarat 79%, and among the union territories, Puducherry leads the processing 90% of its waste, followed by Chandigarh 89%. That shows that we are progressing well. Another important approach is to achieve this goal is we need to install sewage treatment capacity. So the installed sewage treatment capacity as a proportion of sewage generated in urban India is 37.58% as of March 2015. Himachal Pradesh, Sikkim, and the Union Territory of Chandigarh have a much higher sewage treatment capacities as compared to sewage being generated. In goal number 12, response consumption and production to ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. Human use up more resources than what the planet can renew in a year. This is very well known. The global material footprint, which is the quantum of raw material extracted to meet the consumption demand, has increased by 113% from 43 billion metric tons in 1990 to 92 billion tons in 2019. It is also projected that it will grow to now 190 billion tons by 2016, which could be very disastrous for the planet in its life. Another striking development is the shift of energy in a resource-intensive stage of production to developing countries with less resource efficiency that results in the usage of more resources. To achieve this goal, what is our India's approach? India is moving towards implementing the 10-year framework of programs on sustainable consumption and production, that is 10YFP, which is a global commitment to accelerate the shifts towards sustainable consumption and production in both developed and developing countries. This 10YFP has 6 program areas. They are sustainable public procurement, sustainable buildings and construction, sustainable tourism, including ecotourism, sustainable food system, consumer information, and sustainable lifestyles and education. The approaches India is following can be looked into natural resource management food system, resource efficiency, sustainable construction and building, public procurement system, then sustainable tourism system. Under nature resource management and food system, as we know, we have national mission on sustainable agriculture, the national action plan on climate change that strives to optimize agricultural productivity and mitigate climate change impact. Soil health management initiative promotes organic manures and biofertilizers and low input sustainable agriculture. We are also trying, countries are also trying to implement resource efficiency, like we have energy efficiency scheme. And to promote sustainable construction and building, we have green building norms and rules. For public procurement, government has given a boost to reform in public procurement policy and practices. Several public sector entities in government department have already incorporated environmental and energy efficiency criteria in their procurement decision. In sector of sustainable tourism, the government has launched a comprehensive sustainable tourism criteria for 3 major segments of the tourism industry, namely tour operators, accommodation and beaches, backwater lakes and river sectors, which incorporate various eco-friendly measures like sewage treatment plant, rainwater harvesting system, waste management system, pollution control, introduction of non-chlorofluorocarbons equipment for refrigeration and air conditioning, measures for energy and water conservation, among others. We can look our progress, for example, in terms of annual groundwater withdrawal. About 36% of the net available groundwater in India is withdrawn. The national upper limit is 70%, so that the groundwater is replenished at a normal rate. Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan and Delhi, there needs to be improved in this ratio, which has far surpassed the maximum limit. Sikkim and Arunachal have 0.06 and 0.28% of groundwater withdrawal against it's available. When we look into the progress of hazardous waste generation, the per capita hazardous waste regenerated in the country is 0.0057 metric tons per annum. Among the states and union territories, Mizoram and Lakshadweep are the best performers, effectively to treat this hazardous waste generation. Then the hazardous waste sent for recycling. In India, the quantity of hazardous recycled waste to generated is 0.04, and Nagaland state displays the best performance, having already achieved the target, whereas the Mizoram and Sikkim are aspirant in this category. In municipal solid waste treated, only 20.75% of municipal solid waste generated gets treated in the country. So we need to treat more than that. So the percentage of MSW, municipal solid waste treated, is again generated is the highest in Tripura at 60.34% among the states, and in Chandigarh 67.5% among the union territories. We have grid interactive biopower. As of October 2019, the installed capacity of grid interactive biopower per 1 lakh population for India is 0.758 megawatt. Our target is to achieve 2.11 megawatt installed capacity of grid interactive biopower per 100,000 population by 2030. Karnataka has already surpassed this target with an installed capacity of grid interactive biopower per 100,000 population at 2.859 megawatt. Wards with 100% source segregation. 67.76% of municipal wards in India have 100% source segregation in Indian cities. Chhattisgarh, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Daman and Diu have already achieved this target. Goal number 13, climate action. To take urgent action to tackle climate change and its impact. Climate change is affecting the planet in its life more than ever. So the goal 13 aims is to integrate climate action into national policies and strategies and promote mechanisms for raising capacities for effective climate change planning and management. The focus on the urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts requires incorporation of both climate change mitigation and climate change adaptation. India, with its vast geographical diversity, has a significant number of climate regimes and diverse regional and local weather conditions. So this makes the country vulnerable to climate change and related risks. In the last few years, we have seen that the number of floods, drought, and as well as risks from tsunamis and cyclones are experienced in coastal areas. Agricultural economies, for example, India being an agricultural country, our agricultural economy will be adversely affected due to this global warming phenomenon that includes intense heat waves, flood and droughts, water stress, and reduced food production. A comprehensive strategy is required to convey the ambition of adopting green technologies, promoting the use of clean and modern source of energy, advocating for behavior change for sustainable use of resources. India has adopted a wide range of initiatives at national as well as at the international level. Our approaches can be looked into the integrated climate actions in policies, strategies, and planning, then clean energy initiative, emission intensity initiative, improving disaster reduction and preparedness schemes. To integrate climate actions in policies, strategies, and planning, we have National Action Plan on Climate Change. Then at the national level and at the state level, under NFPCC, we have State Action Plan on Climate Change. I will not go in detail over here. To bring clean energy, the National Clean Energy Fund helps to finance and promote clean energy initiative along with the allocation of resources for clean energy research. The Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana scheme gives LPG. Under this scheme, LPG connections are given especially in rural areas. To control the emission intensity, now we have the Central Pollution Control Board in association with the State Pollution Control Board or pollution control committees monitor air quality across the country under the National Air Quality Monitoring Program. This NIMP network has 680 monitoring stations, which is located in 300 cities or towns covering 29 states and 6 union territories. Our progress can be looked into our share of renewable energy under this goal. By October 2019, 35.22% of India's total electricity generation was from renewable energy. 35.22%. Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Maharashtra led the country in the generation of power from renewable energy with production capacities of 17.9 gigawatt, 15.6 gigawatt, and 12.7 gigawatt respectively. With the power generation close to 2.5 gigawatt, Jammu and Kashmir lead the union territories in the generation of renewable power. In terms of share of power, renewable power as a proportion of the total electricity generated, Himachal Pradesh leads the country. 94% of the total electricity generated in Himachal Pradesh is from renewable sources. That is very closely followed by Sikkim, 91%. That's a big achievement for us. To understand and the progress of carbon dioxide saving can be looked into our our program on Unnat Jyoti that gives affordable LEDs for all, Ujjwala, that promotes energy efficiency through the distribution of low-cost LED bulbs. On an average, India saved around 73 metric ton carbon dioxide by third quarter of 2019 by switching to LED bulbs. It is also another big achievement for energy efficiency. The progress among the states, Odisha saved the highest amount of carbon dioxide, 5.4 metric ton of carbon dioxide. That is followed by Gujarat, 4.3 metric ton of carbon dioxide, and Uttar Pradesh, 2.73 metric ton of carbon dioxide. And among the union territories, Delhi saved the most, 1.38 metric ton of carbon dioxide. In terms of the amount of carbon dioxide saved for every 1,000 person, India saved 28.74 ton of carbon dioxide. Among the states, Odisha with 124.84 ton and Himachal Pradesh 120.58 ton are the top performers. And among the union territories, Lakshadweep to 50.45 tons lead. Then if we look into share of solar energy, India has an installed grid connected solar capacity of 31.1 gigawatt currently, which is about 24.3% of the total renewable energy basket. Karnataka generates the maximum amount of grid interactive solar power, 6.44 gigawatt among the states, and Delhi tops among the union territories with 132 megawatt of grid interactive solar power. Puducherry, Daman and Diu, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, and Lakshadweep have 100% of their renewable power generated from solar energy. Among the states, the share of solar power to the total renewable energy basket is highest in Goa at 98.96%. That is followed by Telangana with 55.73% and Rajasthan with 39.92%. Learners, we have discussed from goal number 10 to goal number 13 in this session. So we'll continue with another remaining goal number 14, 15, 16, and 17 another session. Thank you. Let us meet in the next session.